Good morning, beautiful people. I hope you all are thriving and not just surviving. I hope that we've actually seen the live start. We shall see. It looks like we are fully live right now, so that's good. That's good. Anyway, how's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? So this is my new streaming setup, so I'm still kind of getting antiquated with how this all is gonna look. And it's definitely been an adjustment. I mean, tears have been shed. It's been a process. You know, I just try to keep Jordan Sparks' mantra, you know, just one step at a time. One step at a time, because, it's been really, really stressful. But nevertheless, I think that we figured out some integral things. I might at some point be investing in a mic. No, that's not going to have an N in it. I'm going to be investing in a mic at some point just to improve the audio quality. But I think I made good progress on improving the visual quality. So tell me how it looks. Does this look all right? Because I want to make sure that there's no like choppiness. And I've learned a lot. With this whole new setup here. So please make sure to send some likes as you're jumping in here. Good morning. Hello. Cantiguan. Hello. Jay Harrison. Hello. How's everyone doing? I have this one pimple right here and it's really annoying. Look at this. Look at this. It's so rude. Looks great. Yay. Yay. I'm glad. I think that I figured out how to fix some of the visual quality. So I want it to look like just your phone screen, and I had to reduce, long story short, I had to reduce the resolution so that it actually looked better. Audio-wise, I definitely think I need to make some improvements, but, you know, one step at a time. So I was noticing when I was watching back the live stream that it looked really choppy and really not great, and I don't know if maybe that was just the recording, but yeah, it just wasn't looking the best. So, nevertheless, hello! Happy you all are in here. We have a lot to get to today. We have so many different stories here. I mean, look at this. Look at my top bar here. It is full with stuff. I don't even know if, hold on. Yeah, it's not even showing some of the links. It's not even showing some of the links up there, but they're there. So hello, how's everyone doing? Give me just a second because this pimple is really annoying me. Give me a second, hold on. Ooh. It is like really tight on my skin and it's just really irritating me. It's really irritating me. How was everyone's weekend? Do anything fun? Okay, that's better. That's better. I do not know what happened there. It just shut on me, so I don't know what that was. I don't understand what just happened there. But nevertheless, are we back? I think we're fully back. I don't know what that jump was, so you're frozen? Yeah, I don't know what that was. I apologize, but it literally my camera just stopped on me. It just paused. So let's hope that doesn't happen again. Let's hope that does not happen again, because you know, that would not be great. That would not be great. So anyway, hello. Hope everyone is doing well. We are going to be getting into all of the drama, the news, breaking everything down. If you are a new viewer here, make sure to say hello and where you're tuning in from. I do like to get to know new people. This is still my new streaming setup, so please bear with me because because I'm still kind of getting used to this new format. It's been a process. It's been an ordeal. So if you're just tuning in here for the first time, make sure to say hello and where you're tuning in from. And we're just going to be getting on with everything here. So please make sure to send some likes. Let's go ahead and get started. We're at 31 viewers. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are amazing. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Ooh, girl, the drama is ensuing. Hold on. Let me start the recording here. Ooh, girl. Okay. The tea is boiling. Okay. I am living for it. Grab your popcorn, honey, because, ooh, it is about to get real up in here. Credit where it's due, but also criticism where it's warranted. Megyn Kelly is going to be the subject of today's video, or live stream, as it is right now. Shots have been fired, okay? And I'm looking forward to it. Please forgive my really irritating pit bull. You know, she wanted to say hello this morning. And so I know it's not flattering, but, you know, make sure to give her some recognition because she really wanted to be seen this morning. Nevertheless, let's get into this story here. Megyn Kelly, conservative Republican reporter, but also propagandist on the Megyn Kelly Show, credit where it's due, but criticism where it's warranted, has gotten quite personal in her scorching criticism of Donald Trump regarding his views or, you know, his approach towards women. And, you know, Megyn Kelly is a very interesting person about this topic because she's made parts of her career by questioning Trump's role with women. And we'll talk about that later on. But let's get into the article here, shall we? So Megyn Kelly gets personal in utterly scorching criticism of Trump. Claims he's cheated on every wife he's had. I mean, where are the lies? Where is the mistruth? Because the evidence is right here. So Megyn Kelly went scorched earth on Donald Trump during an appearance on the Hodge Twins podcast and accused the president of cheating on every wife he's had, including First Lady Melania Trump. Also, little sidebar, I noticed, and I have to go through because I think Trump's he's had way more wives. But most of his wives, if not all, have names that have ended with A. Ivana, Marla, Melania. So he's just attracted to women with the name that ends with an A. Which I'm like, I don't know if that's coincidence, but I just thought about it. The subject came up as the hosts, spoke about Joe Kent, Trump's former counterterrorism chief, I can't English, whose wife Shannon died in a suicide bombing while serving the U.S. military in Syria in 2019. Yeah, that just really wrenches at my heart. Kent resigned from the second Trump administration in March over the U.S. war with Iran, after penning a scathing letter saying Iran, quote, posed no imminent threat to the United States and accusing Israel of pressuring Trump into launching the attack. I mean, when Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, asks Trump to do something, if he asks him to jump, Trump's going to say, how high? Because, unfortunately, Israel has such a powerful tug on American political and foreign affairs policy. And it's just been that way for a long time. And, you know, more and more Americans are starting to figure that out. And it's not anti-Semitic to point that out. It's the government of Israel has a lot of sway over how the Americans treat foreign policy within the Middle East. Mainly because they are our biggest ally there, but also when they are doing something like a genocide over in Gaza, we immediately will apologize for it just because we are on Team Israel, which is really frustrating because when they are doing awful things, I'm sorry, I care way less about alliances than I do about the right thing. And that also goes partisanship-wise, too, because I'm here to call balls and strikes, honey, because, girl, when I'm looking at this, you know. Make sure to send some likes. Let's continue onward. When speaking with reporters about the fallout, Trump said he was, quote, not a fan of Kent and took a stab at him for remarrying fairly quickly after Shannon's death. I mean, that's just low. Kent married his current wife, Heather Kaiser Kent, for more than 4 years after Shannon's death. I mean, 4 years, that's a long time before remarrying, dude. Trump's criticism did not sit well with Kelly at all. Talk about a glass house, Kelly exclaimed. I mean, Trump has cheated on nearly every wife he's had. I mean, he met Marla Maples while he was still married to the mother of his children, Ivana. It was all over the New York papers. Let me actually go ahead and play the clip here because, and hold on, it's about to get kind of janky because it's nasty. It's nasty. So here we go.
Bit because Trump didn't. You know what, Megyn? I got to push back a little bit because Trump didn't take a salary while he's.
Oh wait, hold on. That's not the one I wanted. Hold on. Here it is. No, not that one. This one. Hold on.
Talk about a glass house. I mean, Trump has cheated on every wife he's had. He met Marla Maples while he was still married to the mother of his children, Ivana.
Right.
It was all over the New York papers. I'm from New York, upstate New York, but I was in New York when this all went down, the city. And he was like being touted, like he was proud of the affair. It was all over the papers. Mm-hmm. So, and by the way, Ivana, his first wife, accused him of raping her. That she alleged in her first book that he was so angry over the hair transplant he got that she made him get. It was so painful that he raped her. And she later retracted that when he ran for president. But that stood on the books for some time. I don't know whether that's true or not. I'm just saying, clearly not a great relationship there.
Right.
And then he winds up with Melania. And, if you think Trump's been faithful to Melania, okay, that's great. You got bigger issues than I can solve here.
Right.
But so the nerve. Like the nerve to act, for him to be judging somebody else's marriage or love relationships or choices, it just shows you like he's got chutzpah, I guess is the word for it, beyond. And it was really inappropriate. No, it was wrong. What he said was wrong on many levels.
Okay, look, credit where it's due, but also criticism where it's warranted. I will give Megyn Kelly the benefit of the doubt to say with her full heart, with her full chest, condemning Donald Trump with his approach towards women. But girl, in the words of Lizzo, it's about dang time. Okay? You stood by him all of this time. And you're now deciding to then speak the truth? Girl, okay? You're reading the tea leaves and pivoting when it's politically opportunistic because Donald Trump is so unpopular with the American people. I mean, it's good. It's good that you are criticizing him, rightfully so, for this exact thing. But girl, this is where you should have been in 2016. And credit to her, she did ask Donald Trump in one of the debates about his horrific views towards women at one point. So she wasn't always such a defender of him, but Megyn Kelly decided to, just be a little bit more politically calculated and decide to quell some of that criticism when Trump first became president, being like, oh, it's overstated, overreactions, yada, yada, yada. And now you decided to then repivot. Yeah, sorry. I mean, this is the exact thing that you do not need when you are
a glass house.
This is the exact thing that you do not need when you are a propagandic news reporter, because you don't ever want to then backtrack in that sense. Girl, enough, done. Okay. Thank you all for thank you all for sending likes, and thank you all for commenting on the stream. America must rescue MAGA from the Trump cult. Republican GOP MAGA won't. Someone said MAGA is winning. Girl, what? These people are weird. But I appreciate every single one of you. Nevertheless, it is hot in here. My new streaming setup is hot, okay? It is, all the lights and all of the processing power from everything. Sorry, I might sweat a little bit. Get a life, peoples. You're on my platform, sweetheart. Maybe you should, because You, no-face commenter, are coming into my space telling me what to do with my time when I'm just out here existing living my best life. Okay, sweetheart, bye. Bye. Build a bridge, get over it, see you later. Nevertheless, I just find it astounding, and I'm going to play the clip again because, I mean, just looking at this here, why is this paused? Why is my screen doing this? Hello? I swear to God, why is this frozen? My Google is frozen. What is going on here? Oh, here we go.
I have to be honest, I didn't expect the corruption to be quite as, widespread as it's been, and like the self-dealing and the lining of his and his family's pockets. Like, that's been a little shocking.
Talking
And I
billions
just
of
didn't
dollars.
expect Trump to be so disrespectful of his base.
Right. Well, you know what, Megyn? I got to push back a little bit because Trump didn't take a salary while he's president. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. I mean, you look at like across the board of the Trump family. I've never seen a family get so rich off of a presidency.
Right.
And it happened at the same time as we now have a Supreme Court ruling that basically says any official act he takes while in the White House is protected.
Right.
And those two things are, seem to be giving him some sort of a hall pass that could very much get abused. I don't want to, say he's crossed the line legally because I actually haven't taken a close look at that. But, he's done a lot that pushes it right up to the line. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think we want our presidents or their families getting rich off of the presidency. Right. And I really want to know more about all these trades that are happening on Iran right before he makes the announcements. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not the way it's supposed to be. Even one of those would have caused a massive scandal 12, 13 years ago. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't be so far afield that, like, these obvious ethical questions get skirted past with just a shoulder shrug, because it does matter.
Yeah, and you know what? Credit to you for saying it, girl, finally, okay? You have finally decided to grow. Well, I shouldn't say grow a pair. That's not the... You've decided to finally call balls and strikes the way that it's supposed to be. But also, like, girl, she's reading the tea leaves, deciding to then pivot when it's politically opportunistic. Where was your integrity when all of this started, when you were constantly defending it and you just turned a blind eye to it because it was politically expedient? It's great that you're calling it now. Great. I'm not going to roll out the red carpet for you. Good. I'm glad that you're here. I will give you space in order to grow. But also at the same time, like, girl, where have you been? You are so late. Class has started. It has been in session. And you finally decided to show up after how long? How many years? Girl, okay? Don't be then doing all this to be like, oh, look at me. Like, I'm not going to overly give you credit. Though it is good. I don't want people to get it mistaken. It is good that she's saying these things. It is good. And it does take some courage to then admit when you were misguided. So sure. Though also, I mean, what this shows is that she knew. She knew all this time everything about Donald Trump in this corrupt fashion. But now she's deciding to finally pull the trigger because it is convenient for her. And it's just, as someone who then tries to brand themselves as a journalist, it just makes me sick. It makes me sick. Nevertheless, I mean, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. The Trump family has been making excessive amounts of money off of the Trump administration, especially when deregulating cryptocurrency and then Trump launching his own crypto venture, World Liberty Financial. I talked about that in previous videos. Go and give it a watch. And also just using the office to then become richer off of all of the government operations being done at Trump properties. That's just a whole nother way that the administration is literally siphoning money into the Trump organization. Like, think about it. If you had President Joe Biden and he ended up, pretend in this hypothetical example, he owned all of these private golf clubs, golf courses, all of this, hotels, and stuff like that. And in order to conduct presidential business at those, was literally using government funds to then pay his own organization for staying there. That's what Trump does whenever he goes and does government business at his properties. Every single Secret Service agent staying there. It is the federal government, our tax dollars, being spent at Trump's properties. If it was another president, like President Joe Biden, it would have been a massive scandal. Today, that's like the least concern. And it's just because Donald Trump is such a corrupt person that the shock value of him doing corrupt actions has just become accepted. Like, it's just a normal Monday, normal Tuesday. And that's dangerous. It doesn't matter the partisanship. Whenever there's just so much corruption somewhere that people then be like, oh, well, that's just the way it is. It's like they want to pacify Americans into accepting mediocrity and corruption. And it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. Someone said, let's see. Every president has come out wealthy. Right. Okay. Do you know what you're doing there? And I don't mean to like signal you out necessarily. And this happens regardless of political affiliation, but I want to address this comment that just came through. Someone says, oh, well, all presidents do it. All presidents do it. So Donald Trump, it's not any different for him. Do you realize the psychological mechanism on which you are responding in that way? Whenever a progressive, Democrat, liberal, independent, anyone who is not MAGA decides to laud a valid criticism against Donald Trump and the far right, there's always this, oh, well, they're all corrupt. Oh, well, it's both sides. That is a convenient cop-out to then equate both sides as equally bad, when what ended up happening is you cannot justify and deal with the fact that your side has done it. So as a knee-jerk reaction, you're deciding to water down criticism for holding your own positions to then claim the other side is equally bad. When in some capacities, there is corruption on both sides of the aisle, but it's not equally done. When you look at all the corrupt actions of Donald Trump and look at all of the not great corrupt actions of Joe Biden, yes, there is corruption on both sides, but it's not equal. When you say both sides, you're doing that as a way to then equate it as equal when it is not. And it's a way to then, it's a cognitive mechanism that people use in order to then justify the continued support of something that's way more corrupt. And that happens regardless of political affiliation, but let's be clear, the pattern is a lot of MAGA does it when they are on the preconditions for actually understanding the corruption of the movement that they supported, which has literally been a whole movement just to get Donald Trump wealthier, richer, more power, and for him to play dictator, wannabe dictator in America. But you know what I mean. So I just find it interesting when someone's like, oh, both sides. Yeah, that's an easy cop-out for you. Easy cop-out. Back to Megyn Kelly here. I mean, credit where it's due. She's basically like, yeah, he's crossed a line. Now, and the Supreme Court literally did say that any action that Donald Trump does that he deems an official action as president can then be shielded from like criticism and stuff like that. I'm not saying that correctly, but she put it eloquently here. I'm going to watch the clip again. Hold on.
Didn't expect the corruption to be quite as, widespread as it's been, and like the self-dealing and the lining of his and his family's pockets. Like that's been a little shocking.
Talking
and I
billions
just
of
didn't
dollars.
expect Trump to be so disrespectful of his base.
Right.
He doesn't care about anyone. He doesn't care about anyone. He literally said that the other day. He doesn't care about anyone. I don't care about their financial situations. I don't care about anybody. Literally what he said. Why would you think that he cares about what his base thinks? He uses his base. He uses them as cogs in a machine for his own benefit. That's who Trump has been this whole time. He doesn't stay loyal to anyone. He stiffs his contractors from when he was more active in running the Trump organization and all of his properties. He doesn't care about anybody. So the idea that you're like, oh, well, he doesn't even care about his base. Right. But you wanted to not believe that because you were high off of Trumpium, Trump copium. Like, girl. It's the blue-haired, nose-ringed, they, them, liberals I being a part of that caucus, progressives, that are like, MAGA, you're being used. As someone who grew up in a MAGA family, I will tell you, they view people who are MAGA as cogs in a machine. They use you as a conduit to then amass power. You could say, oh, well, that's every politician. Right, but when it comes to Donald Trump, he literally uses, abuses, and discards. Like a Kleenex, soft, strong, disposable. Like, that's how Trump views his supporters. He doesn't care about them at all. So much as long as they buy 17 Trump flags, 18 Trump signs, a Trump figurine for their living room made of cardboard that they kiss when they walk in the room, Trump socks, Trump pants, Trump hats, Trump everything. I mean, he doesn't care about those people. He doesn't care about them at all. He only views them as how he can then attain power. So, I mean, credit to Megyn Kelly, but girl. Let me get to some comments here. You were warned, dummy. You help him get elected anyways. That's a lot of lies. I mean, I don't know. How do you even count that? 5 children. Geez, I don't even know if you can name all the Trump children. Hold on. Let me see if I can. There's Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Ivanka, Barron. What's the 5th Trump child? I don't actually even know who's the 5th Trump child. Anyone know? I don't even remember. 3 baby mamas, 2 divorces. Yeah. Felony convictions, 34. Criminal charges, 91. 4 indictments. 2 impeachments. 6 bankruptcies. Yeah. The fact that someone was like... The fact that people were brainwashed into thinking that Donald Trump was the one to fix the federal government financially when he has 6 bankruptcies? Girl. Yeah. I mean... Tiffany. Tiffany Trump. Or Laura Trump? Wait a minute, hold on. That's then 6. There's Laura Trump, there's Tiffany Trump. So wait, that makes 6 then. Unless Laura Trump was not a biological kid and it was a married. I think Laura Trump actually maybe married one of the Trumps, either Eric or Don Jr. I don't even remember. Not even a little bit. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. Donald Trump. He literally said it outright. Yes, no one could have seen this coming except for all the people who saw this coming. I never thought leopards would eat my face, sobs woman who voted for leopards eating people's faces party. Lara is the daughter of L.A.E. Laura is Donald Trump's daughter-in-law. Yeah, that's what I thought. None so blind as those that will not see. Yeah, so true. So true. Anyway, so, I mean, credit to Megyn Kelly for speaking out, but, I mean, girl. She's reading the tea leaves because she knows that it's politically opportunistic to do that.
Point is, widespread as it's been, and like the self-dealing and the lining of his and his.
Sorry, I'm still getting used to my new setup.
To be quite as, widespread as it's been, and like the self-dealing and the lining of his and his family's pockets, like that's been a little shocking.
Talking
and I
billions
just didn't
of dollars.
expect Trump to be so disrespectful of his base.
Right. Well, you know what, Megyn? I got to push back a little bit because Trump didn't take a salary while he's president. So I don't know what you're talking about.
There's actually hold on.
You look like across the board of the Trump family. I've never seen a family get so rich off of a presidency.
I want to point out something. I don't know who these Hodge twins are, but I love the guy on the right. He was like, yeah, well, Trump never took a Saturday. Did you all know that there's such a thing as the Trump Golf Tracker? Okay, there's actually, hold on, Trump Golf Tracker. This actually tracks how often Donald Trump goes and golfs at either his properties or elsewhere. So it actually shows how many times he goes golfing. So he likes to go golfing on the weekends. And, LOL, he sometimes cheats while golfing. But nevertheless, these are confirmed golf sightings by Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, days that he has golfed. He likes to do it on Saturdays and Sundays. So that's fun. Donald Trump has golfed 111 days. 111 days out of 491 days since returning to the presidency. That is close to a fourth, just over a fifth of the presidency spent golfing. Now, I want to also be very clear about something. When it's a golf day, that might not mean that he's spending the whole day playing golf, though it's Donald Trump. So he's going to spend the morning insulting people on Truth Social. Then he's going to go golfing, have his caddies cheat for him, because we've seen that several times. Then go back, do some sort of lavish dinner for himself, and then go back to tweeting on or posting on Truth Social endless amounts of crap. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. Also, I know it's kind of hard to see, and I'm going to have to move my camera here. You can see 155, is that, hold on, $155 million that it's actually cost Americans for golf since returning to office. I'm just astounded by that. That's hilarious. Now, there's also another Trump golf tracker, actually. So if we want to compare sources, days in office, 490, time spent golfing, 22%, confirmed golf, 108 verified days, at Trump property, 33, golf unconfirmed. So, I mean, this golf tracker, it really kind of does show. And here's the thing. You're like, oh, well, he deserves to have time off. Sure, a president does deserve to, have some time where they can decompress. They are human after all. Unless it's Donald Trump, which, I don't know, there's theories that he's an alien of some kind. Or, I mean, I think humans are supposed to have a base level of empathy, and he just doesn't seem to have any. Nevertheless, you see 490 days in office, 108 confirmed golfing, while you can also see other ones at the Trump property. And, we don't always have for privacy reasons, you don't always have a camera on the president. Always, every single day. But you can go through and see. And I think it's important to confirm and compare sources. That way you can kind of get the most non-biased. So you can go through and see, he spent a lot of time at his properties. Now, this could be doing presidential business, sure, but that also, as I mentioned earlier, logs into a whole nother problem, which is, again, the president of the United States, because he did not divest his interests into a blind trust. The president instead only put it into a revocable trust, meaning that he still oversees all of the Trump organization for all of his real estate properties. Meaning that whenever our president goes and spends time at his resorts doing presidential business, it is him siphoning money from the government. His actions as president, as the commander-in-chief, using executive finance words, using money to then pay the Trump administration for presidential business. For example, when President Trump goes and stays at his properties, like in Doral, Florida, so where I think he built a gold statue of himself there. I mean, girl, talk about a narcissist. But when he goes and does presidential business there, what ends up happening is it is the government, the executive branch, spending money for all of the lodging, for all the Secret Service and all of that in order to then be paying to the Trump organization. You're using your office. Your power as president, spending money there. Ask yourself if you would think this is acceptable under an opposing president of a different political party. Because if this was Biden doing that, I'd be like, ugh. Because you didn't place it in a blind trust, but also it just doesn't look good. When you conduct presidential business at a place where you can then personally profit, I mean, the American people have been pacified into accepting corruption. Why have we then decided that this is okay? You can be a MAGA person and call this out for what it is. It's pure textbook corruption. If it was on the other side of the aisle, you would absolutely be losing your mind. But because it's Trump, he somehow has an aura of inevitability because you're so glazed over in your obsession and this unrequited love with Donald Trump. You're in a one-sided abusive relationship with the man, and he clearly does not care about you. He would PISS on your leg and then tell you it's raining. You know, it's just crazy. Nevertheless, if you want to go and look at the Trump golf tracker, I totally encourage that you do so. But Donald Trump has made endless amounts of money off of the presidency. I mean, it's been problematic. I mean, the biggest one was his cryptocurrency, World Liberty Financial. But that is a subject for another live stream. But I do want to move on to another thing here. Hold on just a second. I'm going to clip this. All right. Give me just a second. Okay. Give me just a second. How's everyone doing in the chat, by the way? I've not been looking at chat here. What about Biden's beach tracker? Again, actually, you know what? Let's go and look at that. Biden's beach tracker. I've never heard of such a thing. Hold on. Is there such a thing? First, independent social media accounts and public trackers such as Biden Activities Tracker feed, which monitor the president's travel patterns. Biden Activities Tracker. Interesting. What is this? Yeah, Real Official. I'm so impressed by this. Biden Activities Tracker. President Biden visited the beach on this day. Source, Ashley Blazer Biden on Instagram. Yeah, you know what? This is equally bad. This is equally bad compared to Donald Trump's golf tracker. 2 of them, may I point out. It's equally bad. You can clearly see it. Can you hear the sarcasm coming out of my mouth? I mean, the president does deserve a day. The president does deserve a day to then relax and decompress. But again, there's this inherent need. By these MAGA people to then always say, well, what about Biden? Again, there's this desire to then equate both sides as equally bad as a way to water down criticism from your own when anyone of non-MAGA political affiliation gives a laudable criticism of your side. Your immediate gut reaction is to say, well, both sides are bad. Do you realize how much of a cop-out that is, cognitively speaking, for you to then do like this cognitive shortcut to then justify your continued support of corruption? I'm saying this as someone who was raised and was MAGA at one point. It's an immediate knee-jerk reaction in order to water down criticism, deflect criticism from your own side. I'm not going to deny that Joe Biden took beach days, sure. But I guarantee you, if we were to actually look at the facts of how often Trump goes golfing versus when Biden is on a beach, sweetheart. I mean, it's just astounding. They're always saying, well, what about Biden? You can't ever give laudable criticisms towards these people because they're always going to then panic about it. Someone said, right. Yeah, but here's the thing. You cannot, it's so funny because as soon as I point out Donald Trump's golf tracker, you're going to say that it's fake. Meanwhile, independents, progressives, liberals are like, yeah, Biden went to a beach. Yeah, that happens. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump can't go and golf. That's not the point. The point that I'm more concerned about is the fact that he's literally spending money from his administration, siphoning it because he stays at his properties. It benefits the Trump organization. You're using taxpayer dollars to then benefit your own Trump properties. At any other president, that would be a scandal. For Trump, it's just accepted. That's problematic. problematic. So, Biden didn't charge Secret Service for the beach trip. I mean, I don't have any evidence of that, but I would not be surprised if he did. But also, like, it doesn't seem like that was as much of a recurring pattern as Donald Trump going golfing. I have no problem with the golfing. He can golf all he wants. I have a problem with this failed policy. I mean, that's also true. You know, like, the president goes and starts a war and then goes golfing. Goes to UFC fights. Like, yeah. But let's move on to the next story here because we want to talk about drama. It also gets messy when we talk about this. All right. And I'm going to clip this here. Hold on. All right. How are we enjoying the live stream, by the way? Trump doesn't do any work, too busy watching TV. Yeah, facts. How are we enjoying the live stream? Do we like the new setup? I like the new setup. I think that it's going to take some time for me to adjust to, but I do like the new setup. Show the receipts. I just did earlier on, so I'm not going to do it again. When the live gets posted as a video, feel free to go back and watch it. Excuse me. My head looks so big from this angle. My head looks so big. And I apologize. This pimple is really driving me nuts. It is really driving me nuts here, but nevertheless. Make sure to send some likes. I appreciate every single one of you. How is the visual quality on the new setup, y'all? Before I start this next segment, I want to ask, how is the visual quality? Because I want to make sure that there's no pixelated, it's not blurry or anything like that. Does the visual quality look good? Please make sure to send some likes if you're enjoying the stream. I do need some confirmation in here. Someone said, I like the new setup. Jay, I love you, Jay. You're awesome. Jay was in here to help me with this new setup. I might be investing in a mic soon. That way we can improve the audio quality of the live streams one step at a time. But I want to make sure that this doesn't look grainy or blurry or choppy. Looks good. I want it to make sure and look like your phone or your, I just wanted to make sure that the resolution looks clear. Like you've just researched something on your phone. It's much better. Okay, cool. I want to make sure that there's no visual problems. That's my goal. So, it's much better. Looks good to me. Thank you for the little sparkles. That's so cute. Thank you. Let's get into this next story here because, look good, lying in 4K. How is it lying when I'm literally reporting the actual happenings? These people are funny. I'm lying in 4K. Are you one of the Jedwood twins? I don't know who the Jedwood twins are. As a quick little aside, do you ever just wonder weird things? Like if I would get along with a twin? Like if there was a carbon copy of me that was very similar to me, would we be mortal enemies or would we be best friends? Or maybe both. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, let's get into this here. Please make sure to send some likes. I appreciate every single one of you. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so this one's an interesting story. Please make sure to send some likes. Let's get into it. Dana White argues Trump isn't racist because he was pals with Michael Jackson. Pop star was around his kids all the time. Now, for those people who need a little refresher, Michael Jackson has had a questionable history with his obsession around children. Michael Jackson was a very talented music artist. There's no denying it. His music is awesome. I love Michael Jackson's music. Now, just because you admit that you like his music doesn't mean you cannot, it doesn't mean that you are accepting of the way and the allegations of how he was towards kids. Because there was some nefariousness there. It ended up being that he was, either the charges were dropped or acquitted or something like that. I'd have to look more into his situation. But, I mean, the fact that Trump was apparently, according to Dana White, being like, yeah, Michael Jackson, he was around my kids all the time, that would give me a little bit of concern. But nevertheless, let's get into the article here. And let me actually play the video for you all. So, here we go.
I wish that back in the day, he'd stay off Twitter a little bit more and things like, listen, he's a tough guy, and you know, he's not afraid to give his opinion, but he's been talking about politics since he was young. I mean, if you look back at him, but, you know, these things that he's a racist and he's a Nazi and he's this and that. I mean, Donald Trump, all this stuff's coming out now. You know, the Michael movie just came out, and you see all these videos now popping up of Trump defending Michael Jackson and the type of person that he was, and that Michael Jackson was around his children and around his family a lot.
Wait a minute, Dana. Michael Jackson, as talented as he was, as brilliant as he was a deeply, deeply flawed human being,
No
to say
doubt
the
about it.
least, and was abusive to everything we know about him.
Wait. He was
Toward
abusive?
kids, yes, it's terrible.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true, but I can tell you that, you know, the president had a very good relationship with Michael Jackson and had Michael Jackson around his kids all the time, and, you know, defended him when that stuff was going down.
Do you ever talk politics with the president?
To call the guy a racist is crazy. He's not a racist.
Well,
Furthest
how do
thing
you look, I don't want to go on endlessly about Donald Trump because, you know, then that's all we'll do. But when he puts out a video that shows the Obamas as apes and then won't even apologize for it, you don't get the willies from that?
No, I've been around the guy so much, and
But that doesn't give you pause, Dana?
as far as what?
About his views of, just about his way he talks about other human beings, much less race.
But if that's the way if he was that type of a person, first of all, I became friends with this guy, never even imagining that he would be the president of the United States someday.
Right.
And if he was that type of person, I would never associate with that type of a person, no matter who he was or who he thinks
But he is that type of person, you fool!
he is.
But if he does that, how is he not that kind of person?
He's not.
But you know something that I know. In other words, what you're telling me is that you kind of know. Of course, you know him better personally.
Yeah.
But he's the most transparent personality we have in public
True.
life. He talks to the press all the time. He's on social media all the time. It seems sometimes there's nothing that we don't know about him.
Very true.
So he's almost as apparent to me as he is to you.
And I don't know about the Obama thing to speak. To speak on it. I've never seen it. I didn't know that, but I can tell you this: he's not a racist. He's not a fascist. He loves this country, and if you're an American, race, religion, whatever it is, President Trump is on your team. That I guarantee you.
There's another
I'm full-heartedly convinced after that response. Absolutely, full-heartedly convinced. I mean, look. You know, when UFC when Dana White decides to then say that Donald Trump loves this country, that is 100% convinced me. You know, it doesn't matter what some crazy liberal brings up, you know, receipts wise about Donald Trump's actions or a post that he's put out there in his own words about Obama's being apes. I mean, clearly that was all doctored by the radical left crazy lunatics that were out there trying to make the president look bad by getting the president to then post a video of himself, getting the president to post a video that makes him look bad. I mean, it's clearly the work of deep state blue liberals. Can you hear the sarcasm coming out of my mouth? Because I swear, how are you going to be like, if he was the type of person that did that, then I would condemn him. Good. And then you'd be like, well, but he doesn't do that. Meanwhile, he objectively does it. You want proof? Let's get some proof. Donald Trump, Truth Social, apes, Obama, apes, video. I want to see where it is on Truth Social. I want to see where. Hold on. Let's get it. Hold on. Truth Social. dear Lord. Oh, geez Louise. No, I don't want a featured ad. Go away! Okay, hold on. Hold on. Can I search on Truth Social just for these things? Hold on. No. Hold on just a second. Oh, yeah, I need to sign in. Ugh, crap. Crap. Hold on. Maybe I can just find it on X. Hold on. This is what Donald Trump ended up posting. This kind of thing. Right here. Jeez Louise, that's so gross. Here you go. Trump posted a video of the Obamas as apes. and he's trying to then deny it. Like, look at this. This is what it looks like. It was a video and then it had the apes Obama thing at the end. That's just so racist and gross. It's so gross. I need to make sure and sign in to my Truth Social on here. I don't remember my login and everything like that. I used to do all of my live streams over my phone, and that made things. It was helpful in so many capacities because I have Truth Social on my phone. I know. As a journalist, I have it on there. And I need to make sure and sign in so that I can easily find stuff. But yeah, it was gross. I mean, that's just gross. It's just gross. And now, going back to UFC fighter Dana White, give me a second. Hold on. Give me a second. I find it astounding. How he's like, oh yeah, no, it's not, you know, if he were to do that, that would be racist. It's like, yeah, well, he did do it. He did do it. Like, I don't know what you're trying to then point out, because he literally did do it. Hold on, let me get back to X here. Nah, you just don't like to hear it. It doesn't fit your narrative. Girl, what are you talking about? He literally posted it. There's this one person in here that, like, what are you even trying to do? What is your goal? There's one person in here that's literally just being like, nope. Someone said next. You see yourself out. Next. It's like, girl. I think someone is, you know, we need a vaccine for the delusion going on with this one person in the chat here. Okay, we need a vaccine for a case of political delusion happening, because, girl, look, I can lead a horse to water, but that ain't gonna make it drink. Okay, you know, I could try to give you all of the information there. The fact that Donald Trump literally posted that video, complete cognitive dissonance. Yes, it really is. It really is.
Go on endlessly about Donald Trump because
He's not a racist.
Well, look, I don't want to go on endlessly about Donald Trump because, you know, then that's all we'll do. But when he puts out a video that shows the Obamas as apes and then won't even apologize for it, you don't get the willies from that?
No, I've been around the guy so much, and
but that doesn't give you pause, Dana?
As far as what?
About his views of, just about his way he talks about other human beings, much less race.
But if that's the way if he was that type of a person, first of all, I became friends with this guy, never even imagining that he would be the president of the United States someday.
So how does that matter? Like, how does that matter? You're like, look, I never imagined that I would be. That has no relevance to the conversation at all. Why do you feel like you have to add that in there? This man relying on tweets as a credible source. Yes, if the president has said something, posted something on Truth Social or on X, that is evidence that he said it, that he did it, that he posted it. Yes, it is. Like, how? So, okay. Put the shoe on the other foot here. If Biden goes on and says something very, very bad, or very, very racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, ableist, and you point out a post of his that is that way, if I were to respond being like, yeah, just imagine you saying that the post is a credible source. Yeah, it is. These people are so weird. How do you go through life? Like, genuinely speaking, how do you go through life? Oh, I don't get it. Trump, Truth, Social, Obama, Apes, video, post. I want to find the specific Truth Social post. Because Truth Social, I need it to be there. Because I don't want to have to go through all of Truth Social just to find it. Where is it? Go away. Hold on. Jeez Louise. I mean, if I scroll all the way back, I can find it. Look how much this guy posts on Truth Social. Like, sorry, hold on. You can't see this. Look how much this guy posts on Truth Social. Load. Oh my god, it won't even load. You're going too fast. What do you mean I'm going too fast? Look how much this guy posts on Truth Social. This is just crazy. He spends so much of his time doing that. This method requires an authenticated user. Trump account deletes repost of racist video. Okay, so he ended up deleting it. That's interesting.
Instead of telling you about how
go away, ads.
It really is,
go away.
I just show you. Let's say we want a bee explaining the law of gravity, and
go away.
In 1 second, you have.
Tonight, facing bipartisan backlash, a rare reversal from the Trump White House, taking down a video reposted by the president's social media account. After the Senate's only black Republican, South Carolina's Tim Scott, a strong...
He was like, yeah. I have screenshots on my phone, but I can't put those up right now. Anyway. I'll share it at a later time. I'll share it at a later time. I have to sign into Truth Social in order to get it done, which I find infuriating, because I do not remember. I don't want to do this right now. Okay, you know what? I'm not doing this right now. I'm not doing this right now. Not doing it. Anyway. Let's go ahead and move on to our next story here. I'll let y'all gather yourselves. I have the post on my phone, the screenshots. So I'll do it at a later time. I'll do it at a later time because then I'll be able to prove it to you. So. I'll see you next time. Oh, bye, Miley Curious. Bye. Okay, let me move on to the next story here because this is also another funny, interesting one. I'm going to clip this out here so I can post this at a later date. Okay. So, okay. So, this one's another interesting story here because Senator John Cornyn, oh, bless his heart, he is a huge bootlicker, okay? Huge bootlicker. Trump tells Texas to remember how disloyal Senator John Cornyn was to him. What more needs to be said? Poor Senator John Cornyn. I don't feel bad for the man. I don't. This guy right here. He's on track to lose his re-election bid coming up tomorrow. So Texas has a runoff election for the Republican nominee for Texas for the Senate. And right now it's between John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. And Trump ended up issuing an endorsement of Paxton, which Cornyn and Paxton have been longtime rivals for a while. They hate each other, okay? John Cornyn is a guy who's been in the Senate for several years. And yet he cannot get Trump's support because apparently he wasn't supportive of the president enough. Which he voted with Trump like a lot of the time, and still Trump doesn't give him an inch. So just days after throwing his support behind Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, a Republican of Texas, in that state Senate primary, President Trump told Texas Republicans to never forget disloyal opponent, Senator John Cornyn of Texas, and how he has been to his MAGA policies, especially the SAVE Act. Trump wrote on Truth Social, Texas, remember, Ken Paxton was a great attorney general. He's a great attorney general. I need my hands. A great attorney general, probably the best in the country. He was also very loyal to your favorite president, me. As the Democrats played their ultimate game of weaponization and failed badly. I love Texas, and I won it all three times. And getting by far the highest A record vote in the history of this great and beautiful state. Ken's opponent was very disloyal to me as president, and he didn't fight hard enough for the desperately needed Save America Act, voter ID, proof of citizenship, no mail-in ballots, yada, yada, yada. This would disenfranchise lots of people with their voting, which helps me. He will never let you down. For those people who need a reminder, Ken Paxton is incredibly corrupt as a person. He's incredibly corrupt. Trump waited until nearly the last minute to make the endorsement in the hotly contested Republican primary that takes place tomorrow, Tuesday. Critics argued that Paxton went overboard to promote the SAFE Act in a cynical attempt to curry favor with Trump that ultimately won him the coveted endorsement. In March, Paxton touted Trump's favorite legislation, writing the Save America Act is the most important bill, yada, 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 crap, lie, whatever. Paxton continued, the truth is clear. No one's been more loyal to Donald Trump than me. God, these people, Ken, question for you. How does that foot taste? How does it taste? Because you are using your scaly tongue in order to then just caress and slobber all over those feet. You know, how does How does that behind taste? Because you are all the way up there. Your nose is so far up there. Like, imagine on the Democrat side. It would be just as embarrassing. And as someone who is a progressive independent Democrat, it would be so embarrassing for our party if people were like constantly sucking up, be like, I'm the most supportive of Biden. I'm the most supportive of Harris than this other person. Like, God, that'd be so cringy. I have a theory that literally a lot of MAGA Republicans don't have enough self-awareness to realize how cringy they can be. Nevertheless, he's like, no one has been more loyal to Donald Trump than me. Yeah, definitely not a cult at all. Fighting the stolen election, being in Mar-a-Lago when he announced his campaign, yada, yada, yada. It's embarrassing how much these people are, like, how much they lick Donald Trump's feet in order to get stuff from him. So much so, then I want to point this out here. John Cornyn, the current existing senator for Texas, one of them, in addition to Ted Cruz, literally announced before this endorsement came, he's like, I'm going to introduce legislation to rename a highway in Texas after Trump. I'm embarrassed for him. So this is from John Cornyn, United States Senator for Texas. Cornyn introduces bill to designate U.S. highway as Interstate 47 in honor of President Donald Trump. Like, the I-47 Future Interstate Act is what it was called. I mean, he introduced a bill to rename a highway after Trump as a way to then curry favor to get Trump's endorsement. And it still didn't work. Imagine being so loyal, undoubtedly loyal to someone, just for them to then literally call you everything under the sun. I mean, God, it's just embarrassing for him. It's just embarrassing for them. And all these people who are MAGA, you're like, we're definitely not a cult. Girl. I mean, have you looked in the mirror recently? Because, I mean, it's crazy. Y'all, please make sure to send some likes. Let's go a little bit further. The I-47 Future Interstates Act would designate US 287 as a future interstate, also known as the Trump Interstate. I mean, that interstate does see a lot of traffic, and Donald Trump is no stranger to trafficking. Sorry. I mean, girl, he knows Jeffrey Epstein. That's all I'm gonna say. But it's just embarrassing for him. And this is the piece of legislation. The I-47 Future Interstate Act of 2026. Senator John Cornyn introduced it. I mean, it's just embarrassing. There is one co-sponsor of the bill, Senator Cynthia Lummis, a Republican of Wyoming, one of the senators of Wyoming. I mean, imagine being so much in a cult where you don't even realize it. These people, it's just so cringy. All the renaming of stuff after presidents, I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid. Nevertheless, I want to get to some people's reactions here about it. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on just a second. Sorry that it's not sized correctly. Give me a sec. I need to figure out a way to kind of make things a little bit swifter. So, Republican Senator John Cornyn introduced legislation to rename U.S. Highway 287 as Interstate 47 in honor of Donald Trump. I mean, it's just embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Let me go ahead. Texas is Trump country. This bill cements the legacy by designating nearly 1,800 miles of open road from Texas Gulf Coast to the edge of the U.S.-Canadian border. And it's like early voting for the Texas Republican Senate runoff has begun between Cornyn and MAGA challenger Ken Paxton, which Cornyn's been very obviously desperate for Trump's endorsement. And Trump ended up endorsing Ken Paxton anyway. This is just so objectively sad and pathetic. I mean, they really do not like each other. No matter how stupid you think Trump supporters are, you underestimate how stupid Trump supporters are. Yeah. I mean, really. This is really what it comes down to. This here. I mean, y'all, the blue-haired liberals are trying to tell you that you're a cog in a machine for Trump's benefit, and you seem to literally just lap it up. OMG, just gargle his effing BLLS white old shoe. Paxton is already a criminal, so his opponent wants to associate himself with Donald Trump, who's another criminal, so at least Texans can have a choice between which criminal they want. Yeah. Yeah. Trump Boulevard, yeah. Full of potholes. Yep, indeed. So it's just embarrassing because John Cornyn is doing that. I mean, it's peak cringe. It's peak cringe. LMAO, Cornyn was doing so much ASS kissing, trying to get Trump's endorsement, and even proposed a Trump highway in Texas, and still doesn't get a coveted endorsement. Still doesn't get it. Just inject it into my veins. Seriously, it's so embarrassing for this guy. And to really point out how corrupt Ken Paxton is, let's point this out. Ken Paxton, corruption. The Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who Donald Trump just endorsed for the Republican Texas primary runoff going against James Tallarico in the Texas Senate race, he just endorsed Ken Paxton, who literally is so corrupt that he was impeached by his own Republican caucus in the state House and Senate. Or maybe just the state House. I'd have to double check. But to really show how corrupt Ken Paxton is, let me just give you the AI overview. This is just the AI overview. So you really want to dive into the details? You can. It gets worse. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has navigated multiple high-profile legal and corruption controversies. While he has consistently denied all wrongdoing, key developments in his corruption and legal battles include the following list. Securities fraud. In 2024, state prosecutors dropped nearly a 9-year-old felony securities fraud case. The deal required Paxton to complete 100 hours of community service. Yeah, that community service. I wonder what that entails. Take 15 hours of legal ethics courses. Yeah, like that's going to do anything. And pay $271,000 in restitution to investors. Yeah, because that's really going to do something. Impeachment and bribery allegations. In 2023, 8 of his top aides reported Paxton to the FBI. Oh yeah, I remember this. Alleging he abused his office to do favors for an Austin real estate developer and campaign donor. This led Texas House to impeach him on 16 charges of bribery, obstruction, and abuse of office. He was acquitted by the Texas Senate. Okay, so he was acquitted after being impeached by the Texas House, acquitted by the Senate. Also, federal investigation. Following his impeachment, the U.S. Department of Justice investigated Paxton for witness retaliation and bribery related to the same allegations. The Justice Department officially declined to prosecute him. Whistleblower lawsuit. 4 of the aides who reported Paxton's filed a whistleblower lawsuit against him, which resulted in Paxton dropping an appeal and Texas agreeing to pay $6.6 million to the whistleblowers. I mean, also, Ken Paxton is going through a nasty divorce where basically his ex-wife is basically being like, yeah, things are not great. Texas State Senator Angela Paxton filed for divorce from her husband, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, in Collin County in 2024. She cited adultery as the grounds for divorce, stating the social media post she sought the split on biblical grounds. I mean, why wouldn't Trump want to endorse this guy? I mean, he's just reeking of corruption here. So of course Trump wants to endorse that guy. And it doesn't matter that John Cornyn literally laps up and tries to rename a highway after Trump. Trump's like, I don't care. I find it astounding. It's so embarrassing for John Cornyn. And he's going to lose. Like, he's going to lose handily. He's going to lose so badly come tomorrow. I mean, it's bad. Inject it into my veins. Now, let's move on to the next story here. Please make sure to send some likes. I appreciate every single one of you. We have 50 viewers in here. Y'all are awesome. I appreciate every single one of you. Whew. My streaming setup is so hot. It's so hot. Like, I'm sweating. Y'all. How are we doing in the chat here? I see that one weird rage typer finally went away. Thank God. That was so frustrating. So frustrating. These people in here are just so weird. It's amazing how the U.S. is still together. Yeah, this is such blatant corruption and no one is doing anything. I know! I know! How are y'all feeling about the live? I know it's a little bit different, but I'm still trying to figure out ways to then keep it the same spirit, you know? I want to keep it the same spirit as before. Also, I do want to point out a moment of vulnerability. I tend to have my inner saboteur come through sometimes on the live streams. So your support means a lot because I'm like, oh, Scott, you're not doing this very well. You're not doing great. I'm like, Scott, you're just a beginner, you know, one step at a time, one step at a time. Y'all come for the vibes, stay for the news. That's what I tell people. So let's talk about Iran. Let's talk about Iran because, ooh, girl, I mean, the craziness, I mean, it's just wild. Okay, let me clip this in here, so I appreciate every single one of you. All right, okay, so this has been an evolving situation, and we don't know as much about it because the details have not been made public. But recently, Donald Trump did make a deal with Iran. And a lot of the pro-war hawks in the party, like Senator Lindsey Graham or Ted Cruz or Mike Pompeo, are really, really kind of frustrated about it. So Trump defends Iran deal amid blowback from Ted Cruz, Pompeo, and others on the right, saying that it's the exact opposite of Obama's deal. Just to put things in context, let's talk about what the Iran nuclear deal was. The JCPOA. So, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA, widely known as the Iran nuclear deal, which Trump is claiming to now have negotiated the opposite of that deal, is a landmark agreement between the UK, Russia, France, China, and Germany to basically restrict Iran's nuclear program and have surveillance and oversight into that, excessive surveillance and oversight, in exchange for the country of Iran having their sanctions lifted, economic sanctions lifted. You're like, okay, what does that mean? So Iran basically agreed to all these other countries then going into their country and looking for and overseeing whether or not they were building a nuclear weapon or doing nuclear enrichment. You had excessive oversight where they could not hide the fact that they were building any sort of nuclear machinery or nuclear bomb or anything like that. You had other countries going in and supervising that. And in exchange for that supervision, the country of Iran had their economic sanctions lifted. So what are economic sanctions? Economic sanctions are commercial and financial penalties applied by countries or international bodies to compel a change of behavior. So basically, other countries, the United States, the UK, Russia, China, decided to say, hey, we're no longer going to penalize Iran economically, meaning that Iran would make significantly much more money in regards to trade and economic prosperity. So it's a win-win, and that was negotiated by Obama. Trump is now arguing that it's good because we have negotiated the exact opposite of that deal, of Obama's deal. So what would the exact opposite be? Obama's deal was literally having surveillance over Iran to make sure they weren't building a nuclear weapon in exchange for lifting economic sanctions. The opposite would be the United States deciding to not surveil Iran, let them build a nuclear weapon, but then keep economic sanctions on them. So you're allowing them to build a nuclear weapon. According to Trump's own language, you take him for his word on that. He is arguing that he's done exactly the opposite of Obama's deal. So in that sense, he's letting Iran have a nuclear weapon. If you just take what Donald Trump has said at face value. I mean, how do people look at this and think that he's a master at these negotiations? I have no idea. Donald Trump posted to Truth Social Sunday morning, seemingly in response to the blowback he's still to be finalized in this Iran peace agreement, has been reviewing. I cannot English. President Donald Trump posted to Truth Social Sunday morning, seemingly in response to the blowback his still to be finalized Iran peace agreement has been receiving from some conservatives. Prominent Republicans, like Trump's former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Senator Lindsey Graham, Senator Ted Cruz, have expressed trepidation on the way the talks are progressing. But that's because Senator Lindsey Graham and Senator Ted Cruz and Mike Pompeo are these huge war hawks that just literally want to blow up everything because they think that's fun. One of the worst deals ever made by our country was the Iran nuclear deal, put forth and signed by Barack Hussein Obama. It was a direct path to Iran developing a nuclear weapon. Not so with the transaction currently being negotiated with Iran by the Trump administration. The exact opposite, in fact. Again, I pointed out earlier, the Iran nuclear deal literally said Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And in fact, the United States, Russia, China, Germany, all of these other countries are going to surveil to make sure and look after Iran and their nuclear enrichment programs to make sure they were not building a weapon. And it worked. And they weren't building one. And then Donald Trump tore up that deal. Iran said, okay, well, you put economic sanctions back on us. Now we're not being surveilled. We can build a nuclear weapon if we want. They go and supposedly build a nuclear weapon. Trump doesn't like it after he tore up the deal, stopping them from doing so. And now he's bragging about negotiating the opposite. This man has clearly lost his mind. It's like Trump wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon when you're actually looking down at it so he can rage about them not having nuclear weapons so he can bomb them. The king is mad. The king is absolutely mad. Trump continued, the negotiations are proceeding in an orderly and constructive manner. I don't believe you, you fool! And I have informed my representatives not to rush into a deal in time, and time is on our side. This is the same guy who said that his Iran excursion would last like a day. And here we are, months later. I swear to God. The blockade will remain in place in full effect until an agreement is reached, certified, and signed. Both sides must take their time to get it right. There can be no mistakes. You're like, oh, you know, jeez Louise. There can be no mistakes. I like this. Trump uses Obama's middle name like a slur. Yeah, he always tries to use that as a slur. It's like, oh no, someone with the name Hussein. Am I supposed to be scared as a white American? Like, girl. And then people are trying to say that he's not racist. You're clearly pointing out constant racial jabs, and you expect someone to then believe you're not racist? Girl. No, ma'am. Our relationship with Iran is becoming much more professional and productive one. I don't believe you! They must understand, however, that they cannot develop or procure a nuclear weapon or bomb. Then why did you rip up the Iran nuclear deal, which Iran agreed to excessive surveillance from other countries, the United States, the UK, France, Germany, China, Russia, to then make sure you weren't building a weapon in exchange for lifting economic sanctions? It was working. Donald Trump tore that up. And now you're bragging about having the exact opposite. Except the exact opposite allows them to have a nuclear weapon. So this man has clearly lost his mind. And MAGA, you lap it up like dogs. It's so embarrassing for you. On Saturday, Trump announced that a peace deal had been largely negotiated and was on the verge of being signed. Trump did not give any details. I really want these details. Writing, final aspects of the details of the deal are currently being discussed and will be announced shortly. Earlier, Secretary of State Marco Rubio told reporters during a trip to India discussed the prospect of the deal becoming final. I don't have the news for you at this very moment, but there might be some news later today. There may be. I hope there will be, but I'm not sure yet. Yeah, the ambiguity is gross. Let's look at some of the comments here on this because I'm astounded. Should have just stuck with Obama's deal. Save a lot of disruption, and deaths. Yeah, people would not be dead if we kept the Iran nuclear deal. People would not be dead. But Donnie Smallhands could not let a black man do something better than him. He can't take a win. He can't take a win even if he didn't do it. Trump is, well, he's just stupid. Trouble is, he's stupid. Yeah. Obama was half black, centrist, moderate, American, fiscally conservative, and impeccable family values. Clearly, the party of Lincoln, family values, and fiscal so-called responsibility should have been able to work with him. I have no idea what that person's trying to say. Israel and its paid government supporters in the U.S. want a weak and mostly disarmed Iran. I mean, I don't even know what you're trying to say there. There's not going to be a deal. They're playing Trump. As someone who is a born American, lived here my whole life, I'm telling you, Iran is winning this war. Unfortunately, I don't want Iran to win the war. I also want the United States not to be a jerk and stop bombing them. But, I truly do not think, this is me personally, I don't think that the United States is winning the war. I think that, in fact, I feel like Iran is playing Trump like a fiddle. It's a better deal than Don Mencha usually gets. We don't get anything, but at least he's trying to give them a blue state. What? I have no idea what they're trying to say. So, anyway, I find it astounding. Now, what's also funny here, is you have Trump basically saying, I don't make bad deals. I don't make bad deals. I mean, sweetheart, someone just said, what? How am I supposed to then take him at face value? He's like, I don't make bad deals. Oh, sweetheart. Okay. President Trump went on a mini rant against losers who were criticizing him for reported details of his negotiations with Iran, with the former president saying they needed to keep their yaps shut for now because the deal isn't even fully negotiated yet. This is the same guy who at one point was bragging about having the concepts of a deal when it came to healthcare. Yet, it's always been, in 2 weeks. 2 weeks we'll have a deal. 2 weeks we'll have a deal. 2 weeks we'll have a deal. The deal never comes, okay? The deal left to go get milk and cigarettes and never came back, okay? Like, the deal never came back, sweetheart. It is embarrassing at this point. Someone said this is a gay-ass podcast. Yes. Yes, it is. You don't like it? Then maybe the fact that I showed up on your algorithm says more about you than it says about anything. So just saying, I own it. Okay, I own it. And then Trump goes on to say, I don't make bad deals. I don't make bad deals. Okay, let's just pause here for a second. Someone says, I don't make bad deals. This is the same guy who literally tore up the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal, which stopped Iran from having a nuclear weapon. It was negotiated by Iran that their sanctions would be lifted, meaning there's no economic penalties for trading economic activity, in exchange for countries like China, Russia, Germany, the UK, France, and the US to surveil Iran to make sure that they were not building a nuclear weapon. That was the Iran nuclear deal, the JCPOA, negotiated by Barack Obama. Guess who tore up that deal? Donald Trump. Didn't put anything else in place. So Iran said, okay, well, you tore up the deal. Now we're not being surveilled to make sure we're not building a nuclear weapon. No countries are coming in here making sure that we're not building a nuclear weapon. Now I guess we have the opportunity to build one. So Iran goes and builds a nuclear weapon, supposedly. Then Donald Trump gets mad that they built a nuclear weapon after he ripped up the deal. And then you think that this is somehow a sign of intelligence? I mean, Trump literally is mad about the preconditions of his own actions leading another country to then playing right into what he doesn't want. And then people think that he's a good negotiator. Literally, if Trump had not tore up that Iran nuclear deal, we would not have this current situation where we, the United States, at the request of Israel, bomb Iran, leading to deaths of people, civilian infrastructure decimated. All those girls that were unalived in that bombing of that school. Yet, because Trump is a master negotiator, an absolute clown, that's where we are. The incompetence is astounding. It's astounding. Y'all, please make sure to send some likes. And the fact that he's like, I don't make bad deals. I'm just laughing on the inside. If I make a deal with Iran, it will be a proper one. Not like the one made by Obama, which gave Iran massive amounts of cash and a clear, open path to a nuclear weapon. How is it a clear, open path when you have other countries literally watching you to make sure you don't build a weapon? These people are so stupid. Our deal is the exact opposite, but nobody has seen it or knows what it is. It hasn't even been fully negotiated yet. How can you claim that something is the exact opposite if it's not been fully negotiated yet? How can you claim that something is measurably the exact opposite when you're still not sure how it looks? I mean... And then he goes on to say, so don't listen to the losers who are critical about something they know nothing about. Unlike those before me who should have solved the problem many years ago. I don't make bad deals. This guy is insane. He tore up the thing that was working and then gets mad that it was torn up. I don't know. I don't know how anyone is looking at this guy thinking he's a mark of intelligence. I truly don't understand. I don't understand at all. It's just crazy to me. Anyway, let's move on to the next story here. I appreciate every single one of you. Y'all are amazing. We have 47 people in here. Y'all are awesome. Y'all are awesome. Let's move on to a couple other things here because I want to get to them. So... and I'm going to get rid of some of these tabs here so I can easily go. Okay, hold on just a second. Sorry, y'all. Give me just a second. Just a second. Okay. Let's talk about... Hello? Viral video compilation shows top Iran war booster making one failed prediction after another. I haven't seen this. But you know what? I've not fully read this article all the way through, but let's react to it. Hold on. So let me clip this here. Start recording. Perfect. Okay. I have a personal connection with this story here. Okay. Do you all know who Dave Rubin is? Dave Rubin. This guy. He's an openly gay Republican propagandist. He used to be further left. He was a progressive independent at one point. Completely betrayed that in order to then amass an audience by appealing to all these MAGA people who, without critical thinking skills whatsoever, lap up any sort of propaganda whatsoever for Donald Trump. They lap it up. You know, it's like a drug to them. These far right-wing people view MAGA content as a drug. And so people like Dave Rubin, credit to him, knows, okay, I can amass a whole platform by literally just spewing lies and crap in order to feed these people's delusions. Cool, you go for it. I'm sorry, for me, when you violate truth, honor, and integrity and throw people under the bus and constantly spew lies and avoid empathy, sorry, I don't care if that's a way to amass a platform. Never gonna happen when it comes to me. Absolutely not. Nevertheless, Dave Rubin used to be a part of TYT, if y'all are familiar. TYT stands for The Young Turks. The Young Turks. I also used to be an affiliated creator with them. And as soon as the Young Turks, TYT, started making this pivot where they were constantly trying to court these like far right-wing MAGA people as a way to then build their audience, I get what they were trying to do in theory, but what happened in practice is they were literally throwing trans people, gay people under the bus and basically trying to quell any criticisms of like how the far right is transphobic, following cult-like behavior and all of this crap. And basically TYT decided to make this right-wing pivot. And I was like, screw this, I'm not being a part of it. Dave Rubin was also an affiliated creator with them. So I have a personal connection to the story. I never met the guy. But nevertheless, I just find it astounding because I stumbled across this article here and I've not fully reacted to it, but let's get into it here because, viral video compilation shows top Iran war booster making one failed prediction after another. So I guess Dave Rubin is a super pro-Iran war person, which, I mean, that tracks. Conservative commentator I'm thinking Ben Shapiro. Dave Rubin, who for months has been a top booster of President Donald Trump's illegal war with Iran, was inundated with mockery on Sunday after a viral video exposed months worth of his failed predictions about the conflict. Excuse me. The video, which was posted on social media Saturday, begins with Rubin telling viewers to not listen to any of the prognostications being made by critics of the war, which Trump launched in late February without any authorization from Congress. Yeah, sorry, I almost said Ben Shapiro. My apologies. My apologies here. So he said, I'm pretty good with predictions. And my prediction here is everything the media is now going to say about Iran is it's going to close the Strait of Hormuz. Energy prices are going to go crazy. None of this is going to come to pass. Oh, sweetheart, that aged like old milk in a fridge for months because let's watch this over on X. Hold on.
Allow me to make a prediction here in my prediction stuff. I'm not Polly Market, I'm not Call Sheet, but I'm pretty good at predictions. And my prediction here is that everything that the media is now going to say about Iran's going to close the Strait of Hormuz and energy prices are going to go crazy and all these, none of this is going to come to pass. Gas prices are coming down and will continue to come down.
Oh, bless his heart.
If the United States wants to keep the Strait of Hormuz open, which it does, and Donald Trump said we'll escort ships through if we have to, it's going to stay open. This is the leader of the Iranian opposition. He has been in exile. His name is Reza Pahlavi. We have shown you videos of him before. He's the eldest son of the former Shah of Iran, and he likely is the next leader of Iran. This is the guy that, by all accounts, when this war ends, will go in and he will be the leader. And again, it will be different. Just remember, it sounds like the Kurds are starting to enter the country with arms to help the people take out the last vestiges of the IRGC. There's a lot of good things happening. This is Iranians, and you can hear they are chanting Bibi June, Bibi Netanyahu. In Iran, they are chanting praise for Benjamin Netanyahu. And when you take out Khomeini, and you take out his number 2, and his number 3, and his number 4, and his number 37, and his number 42, then suddenly the next guy's going, it's a little hot in here. And then people start behaving a little bit differently. They've plotted this war, this extraordinary war that will be studied for decades, right? For decades, they will study how this incredible war took place. That we are hitting critical infrastructure. We are damaging the regime. So
if the sound of vid is kind of low. Oh, should I raise it up here? Hold on a second.
Hopefully the people
is that better?
will be able to take over their country. Now, the question is, if you're going to hit power plants and you're going to hit civilian infrastructure and things of that nature, how do you make sure it's not going to harm the people, but just the regime? And when we have a Department of War that is not looking for war, but will perform war and we are going to do it at the maximum level of competency. I think the way you can...
You're like, oh, it's not looking for war. What would you... Okay, sweetheart. Let's take a pause. Let's take a pause. Let's take a step back. Okay. You're like, oh, they're not looking for war as they declare war. Oh, these people are crazy.
Say this, but this seems to me to be the war to end all wars.
I swear to God.
Allow me to make a prediction here.
The beginning part is my favorite. Hold on.
Allow me to make a prediction here in my prediction stuff. I'm not Polly Market. I'm not call sheet, but I'm pretty good at predictions.
He is so cringy. Bless his heart. He is so cringy. Like, he's doing all these weird little things. He's like, I'm not Polly Market. I'm not predicted. I'm not call sheet. Like, right now, I'm like a grape, and I've shriveled into a raisin from embarrassment for this man.
Prediction here is that everything that the media is now going to say about Iran's going to close the Strait of Hormuz and energy prices are going to go crazy and all these, none of this is going to come to pass. Gas prices are coming down and will continue to come down. If the United States want...
You know what? Gas prices, let's see. Let's go ahead and check that. In your personal experience, in the chat here, are gas prices going down for you? What is the gas price in your neighborhood? I live in North Carolina. I live in central North Carolina. Gas right now, as I was literally driving around yesterday, $4.20. $4.20. $4.20. Let's check gas prices. Gas prices tracker. You know, let's see. Is gas coming down? Current average, $4. $4.50. Yesterday's average, $4.50. A year ago, $3. Oh, interesting. Yeah, gas prices are clearly going down because, you know, when it goes from $3 to then $4.50, that's clearly a decline. Clearly a decline here. I mean, that's all according to AAA. Look for your state. You know, look for your state. I live in North Carolina, so let's compare this to North Carolina right now. You know, it's clearly going down. He says. So let's check. Yeah, look, it's going down. It's going down from where it was. Let's see images here. Ooh. Yeah, clearly going down. Look at this. Whoop. Oh, bless his heart. He's like an unsharpened pencil. Yeah, clearly going down. Let's see. Let's go. Gas buddy. What is this? Okay, sorry. Hold on. I got distracted here. What is this? I want to live ticking average of fuel prices. Search by state. No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. Yeah, here's a map of the U.S. Okay, here we go. Yeah, clearly, hold on. Clearly not going down. Clearly not going down. Just bless his heart. Bless his heart. Bless his heart. I find these people so astounding.
Wants to keep the Strait of Hormuz open, which it does, and Donald Trump said we'll escort ships through if we have to. It's going to stay open. This is the leader.
The Strait of Hormuz. Is the Strait of Hormuz open? Is the Strait of Hormuz open? It's effectively closed. Oh, sweetheart, look. You know, this, as my mother says, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Okay? You okay? Trying to keep these conservatives from not contradicting themselves should not be this hard. Yet it is, because they constantly fall on their face when it comes to this. Let me go back to the article here because I just want to quote some things from it. Video then cuts to Rubin wrongfully predicting that gas prices during the conflict will continue to come down, before switching to claims that Iran lacks the military capacity or capability to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed in the face of U.S. military power. If the U.S. wants to keep the Strait of Hormuz open, which it does, and Donald Trump says, we'll escort ships through if we have to. From there, the video then shows Rubin hyping of the prospect of the Iranians' distant force swooping in to take over the country after the war, and then getting fooled by an AI-generated video of Iran's giving their thanks to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Yeah. He's the Jim Cramer of a war on war predictions. Yeah, Jim Cramer is known for making stupid predictions, but he has relevance because people pay attention to what he has to say. Commentator Adam Mockler wrote that Rubin, it's brutal watching him make failed predictions week after week. Journalist Glenn Greenwald argued that the video should be the last nail in the coffin of whatever credibility Rubin has left. Yeah, he doesn't have any credibility. Imagine having sat through and listened to all of the Israeli propaganda, which turned out to be completely, predictably false, and then thinking that there was some value in continuing to listen to that person. Yeah. Bulwark's Tim Miller said that he knew Rubin was a smooth-brained hack. He still couldn't even fathom how these bad war takes would be. Yeah. I mean, political analyst Omar Badar, meanwhile, said the video should erase any doubt that Rubin is the dumbest man on the internet. Oh, bless his heart. See, when you sell out your morals in order to garner an audience, sure, you might get your name out there, you might get some views, you might get some clicks, you might get some credibility, you might garner an audience and garner money to do it, but like at what cost? You're spreading misinformation and crap endlessly just to get a nice padded little office video for your video setup? Girl, it's just embarrassing for you. It's so embarrassing. Nevertheless, let's move on to the next story here. Let's move on to the next story here. Give me just a second. I appreciate every single one of you. Y'all are awesome. How many people we got in here? 61? Y'all are awesome. Please make sure to send some likes if you're enjoying the stream. Your comments are appreciated. Let me get back to this here. There are a couple things that I want to actually dive into here. Before I go on to a couple of these other stories, I do want to talk about something. So let me click start recording here. Before I go on to another story, I want to talk about something that I saw over Twitter or X recently that really caught my eye. So let me go to my likes here. Okay, I want to scroll down and I want to find it where it was just really, really strange. Okay. Yeah, no, here it was. Have y'all seen this here? Have y'all seen this? And this is going to be a different approach to my content today because I don't want to venture into territory that's conspiratorial. I am not someone that likes to believe in conspiracy theories or venture into them unless there's evidence to show that there is some nefariousness going on. Like, I don't like engaging in this kind of stuff. This kind of caught my eye because I'm looking at it and I'm like, So, have you all seen this guy? Please say so in the chat, because I'm really interested. And if no one responds, it's going to be embarrassing. Have you all seen this guy here? And where he was, I don't even know who he is, Vice Admiral Robert Hayward. Have you all seen this guy? Because this on the right is a actual picture of him. And this was him appearing on Fox News recently. I'm not one to then immediately feed into conspiracies or crap. Though, I saw this and I'm like, okay, I want to go through and just analyze this. Fox News brought on retired Vice Admiral Robert Hayward for another propagandic war segment, according to this guy. Fox News is putting someone on TV that is wearing a mask? Question mark. Look at his neck. And I'm going to play the video for you all here.
In Iran that not only hands over the nuclear material, stops threatening the Straits of Hormuz, but quits exporting.
Look right here, y'all.
Islamic revolution throughout.
Oh, geez, hold on, sorry.
He controls the strike capabilities, and he knows that the policy he set with the blockade has had short-term and long-term effects on the regime and the people of Iran. So he's been very astute in leveraging that time. And so I don't see it as negotiations. It really is capitulation. The president's made...
Is this a mask? Like, I'm genuinely asking. Because I want to... I'm looking at this, and I wonder if it's a shadow, if it's surgery, or if it's an actual mask. I don't like engaging in conspiracy theories, but look at this. It looks like a mask. And I mean, a lot of people are thinking that exact same thing. If you look at this guy actually talking versus this, is that just really good makeup? Because this is what his neck normally looks like. Of course, all of this could be AI generated. Who even knows? I don't want to venture into the conspiracy of this. I really don't. I just only want to do that if it's credible. I think it's been fake all along. I've seen these platinum silicone masks. It's called platinum polymer. It's creepy. Plus airbrushing, you could never tell. I need y'all to comment in here, because I don't want to then venture into conspiracy territory. Though, I mean, if you objectively look at this, it kind of does look like a mask. Now, if you all remember, a lot of MAGA people were claiming that Biden wore a mask. Or that someone was wearing a Biden mask and all of this kind of crud. And I was like, yeah, this is absolutely insane, because it's like a younger version of Biden versus like the older version of Biden. This is a little bit different to me because you can clearly see the gap down here. And when you look at this guy here versus here, this was recently. So did he just get like really good facelift? I don't know. I don't know. Why is my computer not working? Biden was a potato. Not a potato.
Been very astute in leveraging that time. And so I don't see it as negotiations. It really is capitulation. The president's made it very clear. You will not have a nuclear weapon. You will not have the material. Surrender that. And you will ensure that the Straits of Hormuz are open to free commerce, that you have no claims for search.
It's very clear here to me.
See, at the end of the day, people, but the world global economy, which they're holding all hostage to, the more everybody comes to realize this is all about the IRGC. At the end of the day, we're going to have to need a government in Iran that not only hands over the...
I mean, look, I don't think you can say that's just the shadow. I don't think you can say that's just the shadow. I want to look at some of the comments here. I mean, It's just shadows and angles. That's from a previous interview. I mean, this is from previous interview. Oh my God. I mean, that's just crazy if it is. But I mean, you would also have to
get involved, but again, their interests are at play here, but so are European interests, the rest of the Gulf nations, and so far, every time on his hands. He controls the narrative, he controls the strike capabilities, and he knows get involved, but again, their interests are at play here, but so are European interests, the rest of the Gulf nations, and so far, every time on his hands. He controls the narrative, he controls the strike capabilities, and he knows get involved, but again, their interests are at play here, but so are European interests, the rest of the Gulf.
I'm just looking at this. You can tell that the sound of the voice is also another thing. You could say that it's, it could be the recording, it could be the audio. That's fair. But I also want to point out, like, you can see that his skin looks so much cleaner, smoother here. And it looks pretty accurate. The eyebrows are a little bit different. You can see these are going up a little bit. I also think that the face is like, it's smushed a little bit more in the middle versus on the left, it's a little bit more wide. I mean, it looks expertly done. But again, the gap down here, I mean, and now you could say, well, maybe it's a polymer mask that they wear on, maybe it is him, he's just wearing it over himself. But then I'm like, well, why would you do that? To make your skin look good? Who are you trying to get the attention of? Sephora? Like, so I don't want to venture into conspiracy territory, because even though a lot of people are going to conspiracy territory, I just don't like appearing. I'm going to take a stand when I'm like, Though I'm looking at this and I'm like, the evidence looks pretty clear. This doesn't look like a shadow. This, oh, you can't see. Oh, you can't see, hold on. This does not look like a shadow. Look down here. This does not look like a shadow. That's a shadow. On the left. The one on the right does not look like a shadow. And it's hard to know, like, are we somehow being lied to?
Get involved, but again, their interests are at play here, but so are European.
So I just wanted to report on that segment, because that's crazy work. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's nothing. I don't know. Does this look like a shadow to you? Because to me, it doesn't look like a shadow. Does not look like a shadow to me.
That motherfucker back there is not real. I'm telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real.
To negotiate with a clear conscience, to try to meet any of the objectives, to adhere to the ceasefire. For anything, to negotiate with a clear conscience, to try to meet any of the objectives, to adhere to the ceasefire.
General Keane was with Dane and me yesterday. Let's begin with this analysis and we'll get
Pressing means to how to address those, and I wouldn't say after they're used, before they're used. So if Cuba was to be foolish enough to do that, I think the little short of the real objective here. The president has time on his hands. He's ramifications would be significant, and it would justify military action. The narrative, he controls the strike capabilities, and he knows that the policy he set with the blockade has action, something I'm sure they don't want. And aside from the drones, they really have nothing else to do. Short-term and long-term effects on the regime and the people of Iran. So he's been very astute in leveraging that time. And so I don't see it as you can't depend on Iran for anything to negotiate with a clear conscience, to try to meet any of the objectives, to adhere to the ceasefire.
You know how expensive it is to make a specific mask to look like a person, not just a generic one that you buy on the internet. The question is, why do they want to impersonate this particular man? At least they got the skins correct. My problem is, where do all of his veins in his throat go? Yeah, I mean, is it just makeup? I doubt it. They dressed him to the same to help the actor seem more realistic, but who TF wears the same thing again on TV? I mean, it could be two separate segments. Conclusions are the cessation of thoughts. I think, therefore I am. Literally the exact video. It's called Tone. I mean, yeah, you can tell the voice is very similar, but it does sound a tiny bit different, but that could also be the audio quality. I'm more concerned with the visual than anything. Like, again, I don't like venturing into conspiracy territory because it opens yourself up to the boy that cried wolf, and I'm always very astute of when anything could then be considered hypocritical. I'm just looking at this, though, and I'm like, there's some evidence here that shows that there's something going on. Holy crap, this is certainly not the same person. Yeah, not the same man. But the evidence here is that there's something going on, but I'm like, I don't know what it is. So, anyway, I wanted to ask about that because I'm just looking at this and I'm like, What do you all think? The left is a cult full of brainwashed American haters. I don't hate America. I was born here. Nevertheless, let's move on to another thing here. Please make sure to send some likes. I appreciate every single one of you. Wrong. Okay, I guess I wasn't born here. Not like I could use my birth certificate or use other forms of ID to prove it to you. You know, there's no way I can convince you. Oh, sweetheart. Excuse me. All right. Let's talk a little bit about wealth. All right. So this is an interesting story here. Biggest wealth divide in modern history. Graphic shows the shocking reality of the U.S. economy. Data released by the University of Michigan and Gallup this week showed U.S. consumer sentiment cratering even as stock markets reach record heights. And here's the thing. All of these economic experts on news platforms are like, look, the stock market's doing well. I'm sorry, but the stock market is not the best measure of economic prosperity in the United States. Maybe for rich people, but what about the rest of us? What about us working class, middle class folks just trying to get by? Sorry, I don't care that much about the stock market. I mean, it's obviously an economic indicator and it matters, but to the idea that that is the biggest, most important indicator, yeah, maybe for the wealthy people. What about the rest of us? Yeah, it just, ugh. Multiple polls and surveys released in recent days have shown U.S. consumer sentiment cratering. All the while, the U.S. stock market keeps hitting record highs. The Kobesi letter, a financial newsletter, posted a graphic Saturday that matched consumer sentiment as measured by the University of Michigan's survey of consumers with performance of the S&P 500 stock index over a 30-year span. I want to see what this actually looks like. Hold on. Oh my God. Hold on. Wait. Oh, nope. That's not what I want to do. Hold on. Absolutely incredible. Over the last 6 years, the S&P has risen 130%, while U.S. consumer sentiment has collapsed by minus 55 to its lowest since data began 1952. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see here. I apologize. Maybe I can make myself a tiny bit smaller. Hold on. Make myself a tiny bit smaller. Maybe I can make this a tiny bit bigger. Okay. Make this a tiny bit bigger. Let's look at this here. Oh, goodness. Okay, so for people who are like, what am I watching? The S&P is in the white. The yellow is the sentiment. And you can see it starts, this is 2000, 2004, 2008. That's the financial crash. They've been tracking it all this time. Oh, wow. Look how the S&P has done really, really well. Look how the S&P has done really, really well. And consumer sentiment has just gone absolutely down. I mean, it's a clear trend. It used to be consumer sentiment was so much higher around the 2000s. And then you had 2008 was when consumer sentiment plunged. And then 2012, 2016, 2020, 2024. Now we're here, and clearly the S&P is doing great. It's been clearly going up, but consumer sentiment has been going down. I mean, it's a clear trend. That's DAMNING. Wow. So the Kobesi letter, financial newsletter, posted a graphic Saturday that matched consumer sentiment as measured by consumers' performance of the S&P. The graphic shows that up until 2020, consumer sentiment matched stock performance data closely, although there was a large divergence between the two leading up to the 2008 financial crisis, where stocks briefly outperformed consumer sentiment before crashing downward and the housing bubble burst. But throughout the last 6 years, the graphic shows the S&P 500 has produced an almost continuous upward surge even as consumer sentiment spirals downward. So again, what it shows is that the stock market is not the only and is not the most important statistic or way to measure the economy and prosperity. Because when consumer sentiment is down because of stagflation or shrinkflation, what we're seeing, the cost of living crisis, just because the S&P 500 does great does not mean that that's the only economic indicator. I mean, the evidence is clearly there. And we're looking at this here. Absolutely incredible. Over the last 6 years, the S&P has risen 130%, while U.S. consumer sentiment has collapsed by negative 55% to its lowest since data began in 1952. We are witnessing the formation of the biggest wealth divide in American history. Because, I mean, think about it. In our personal experiences, everything is getting more and more costly, and you're getting less of it. You go to the grocery store, you buy a bag of apples, it's more expensive, and then there's less apples in the bag, and then they're less nutritious. You go for insurance. You try to get coverage for your insurance, and you pay more and more for your insurance, and you get less and less coverage. Hospitality. You're paying more and more for a service and getting less and less perks. So this is happening across the economy where we're paying more for things and then getting less things and less quality of it. We're paying more and more for a service and getting less service, less attendance of it, and it's been happening. Obviously, those gains, that missing part is going somewhere, but it's not to the working class and it's not to the middle class. It's to the shareholders. It's to the wealthy people at the top. Doesn't matter their political affiliation, their race, their sexual orientation, gender identity. Doesn't matter any of those things. It is all about the haves and the have-nots. So when you have an economy that is literally pocketing and taking money from the lowest of low, working class, middle class people and putting it towards the top, I'm sorry, that is a problem. And it's been happening for a while. And this just really shows it. They're like, oh, look, the stock market's doing well, but the stock market's not the only thing that matters. I care more about the purchasing power of goods. You're like, purchasing power, what does that mean? How far can $20 stretch in this economy? That's what I care about. When wages and people's salaries do not keep up with inflation, okay, what happens when that happens? You have less cash on hand. You have less ability to save and build yourself up. And that's what's been a huge problem. And they're like, oh, well, we can't tax the rich. They work super, super hard for it. Okay, how do you quantify hard work? Because there's all these other people who have been working so hard. Does their labor not matter? Like, girl, bye. You know, I'm just looking at this. On the same day, Gallup published new data showing the Americans' economic confidence has fallen to its lowest level since October of 2022, with just 16% of Americans rating the economy as excellent or good and nearly half describing it as poor. I mean, let's just look right at that. Let's just go ahead and look right at it. Fine, accept all. Go ahead. Steal my data. Go ahead. Economic Confidence Index. I mean, look at this. 2020 through 2026. The Gallup Index, you can see here, it's been going down. 2020, it plunged. And it's been going down for a while. This was the pandemic. So it went from plus 40 to then negative 30. It rebounded a tiny bit, but then kind of went down even more. And then went up just a little bit. It's kind of been ebbing and flowing, and then it's just plunged even further. It's plunged even further. I mean, the ECI summarizes Americans' evaluations of current economic conditions as excellent, good, only fair, or poor, and their outlook for the economy, whether they believe it's getting better or worse. The latest decline in economic confidence is driven by growing negativity about both measures. Americans' recent current economic conditions. How would you rate the economy or economic conditions in this country today as excellent, good, only fair, or poor? Excellent, good obviously plunged from 60 to then down to, let's see, down to like almost 20%, 22. I know that's the date, sorry. 20% in 2020. So obviously it's been kind of on a trajectory of being low, and it's plummeted even further. Now when it comes to only fair is this line here. It's kind of fluctuated. It's kind of back to where it was in the pandemic, which is not great. Poor, you can see the poor line has skyrocketed. The pandemic really did shake that up. It went down a little bit, went back up even further, and then it's kind of stayed that way. What I'm noticing, and this is my political science background, what I'm noticing here, think about presidential terms. Think about presidential, the timeline here. This is when Biden becomes president and has the pandemic, inherits the pandemic from Donald Trump. Because the pandemic really started in 2019. That's why they call it COVID-19. And Biden has us through the pandemic. And, inherits this, and it's really, really bad. Excellent, good, it kind of keeps going down and down and down. Rebounds a little bit, but not much. The only fair, you had it, okay, only fair went up a little bit, went down a little bit. And this right here is when Donald Trump assumes office. So it's pretty much stayed where it was under Biden, but now you're starting to see it start dropping. So right here you can see excellent, good has been dropping. This is ever since Trump became president. It went up a little bit, went down, went up, and now it's going down further. I think that this here is showing Donald Trump supporters starting to wake up and smell the coffee. At least some of them. And the increase of people saying that it was poor. Because this year, a lot of Democrats are going to be like, yeah, it was bad to begin with, no matter what. So it's interesting to note those trends. Americans' recent ratings of economic outlook. Getting better. That obviously plunged during the pandemic, rebounded a little bit, and then kept being low, and now it's back to being as low as it was before the pandemic. That's bad. Like, we're at pandemic levels of disapproval. That's bad. And here, 76. You know, we were at 74, 76. We're at pandemic levels of bad regarding getting worse on economic output. So, you know, Trump's obviously doing something wrong. Can't feel free to provide quote and where it's from. This is from Gallup. This is from Gallup. This is from a credited, well-known, very credited pollster. You look at similar polls and you'll see similar stuff. So, I mean, what this really does show is the biggest wealth divide in American history. It really does show that. Axios reported on Saturday that even Republicans have been growing sour on the U.S. economy, citing a recent poll from the Associated Press showing Republican approval of the president about the economy being around 60%, down from 80% just a couple months ago. So at least you have some MAGA people that are smelling it, waking up and smelling the coffee. You know, the growing GOP gloom could hardly come at a worse time for Trump and the party. Less than 6 months from a midterm election that's likely to turn on the economy. Yeah. I don't know if this is gonna take me to a good place or not. No, I don't want to give you my email address. Anyway. So, that's just interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting. What happened in 2024? We had the election and Donald Trump then becomes president beginning of 2025. I don't know if you're trying to lead somewhere with that, but I mean, that's just the objective reality there. Anyway. So I just wanted to point that out. That's interesting. Make sure to send some likes. I appreciate every single one of you. I have one more story to get to. I appreciate every single one of you. Please make sure to share the stream. Chat rate 3. I have no idea what that means. No idea what that means. Look at your graph. I'm sorry, I've already passed it. Let's go on to the next story here because I want to also talk about this. Huh. We'll talk about that in a minute, I guess. Let's talk about prediction markets. Hold on. Okay. This is also interesting. Let's talk about prediction markets. Do you all participate in prediction markets? Because I don't. I think that prediction markets, personally, if you want to engage in them, that's on you. That's cool. You do you. You can make money. You can also lose a lot of money doing prediction markets. There's been an epidemic of young men that have been playing on prediction markets. Some of them amassing great wealth, but also many of them losing a good chunk of money on these prediction markets. Now you can blame them as saying, oh, well, you know, that's on them. Sure, it is. But also, it's just a shame. It's a shame right now that people are getting so embroiled in, like, gambling behavior with prediction markets. And also, I get really concerned about how these prediction markets are bringing out the worst in public officials. What do I mean by that? We've seen public officials literally engaging in create a prediction market on whether or not they're going to enter in a race or pass a piece of legislation or put out a specific action. And then they themselves can actualize that bet. They're the ones that can be the actor to make that come true. They play on the prediction market on a certain outcome. They can then make it come true. Boom. And then they make good chunks of money. It's dangerous having political officials engaging in prediction markets. For instance, there are people that engage in political prediction markets. I can't English. Prediction markets. And they can create their own luck, per se. Someone opens up a prediction market on whether a dildo is going to be thrown at a WNBA game. Buys a ticket, goes to that game, whips out a big green dildo, throws it onto the court. Then the bet, okay, there's the outcome, and whoever bet no loses money. Whoever bet yes earns money. Yet there's no regulations put in place to stop that person from engaging in that. And you'll say, well, how do you stop that? I mean, we should have experts on how to stop corrupt actions through prediction markets. But also politically speaking, when lawmakers can bet on their own elections, that's bad. Now, I'll give credit to the Congress. They've actually recently put forward and said that people in positions of power cannot play on prediction markets. But it does not stop articles like this from popping up. Report exposes how Trump administration has mowed down regulators overseeing prediction markets. This is also something that has embroiled the Trump family, because they've been very friendly to cryptocurrency and very friendly to Polymarket, been very friendly to Kalshi, and there are these executives that are in cahoots with the Trump family. Donald Trump Jr. serves or is somehow affiliated with Kalshi and Polymarket. Hold on, I'll even prove it. Don Jr. affiliation with Kalshi. Kalshi names Donald Trump Jr. as a strategic advisor. A strategic advisor. Last Week Tonight did a really good piece on this, where they talked all about it. Kalshi backs prediction markets lobby group. That's interesting. So when you have such conflicts of interest as the son of the president being involved on these companies, it's dangerous. It's dangerous because it obviously influences the way that these companies are going to go about running these things and also how the administration responds to it. So, I mean, going back to this here, a Sunday report in the New York Times revealed how the Trump administration is using key government agency to shut down any efforts to regulate online betting markets such as Kalshi and Polymarket. And also, Donald Trump Jr. is not even just part of Kalshi, but he's also like a part of Polymarket as well. Donald Trump Jr. serves on the advisory board for Polymarket. So there's obvious conflicts of interest here in it. The Trump administration benefiting off of the non-regulation of these industries. According to the Times, the administration has stacked the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, with industry insiders who have systematically, quote, mowed down staffers at the agency who have expressed concern in providing oversight on prediction markets. Among other things, the report documented how multiple officials at CFTC have been put on leave for simply asking questions about the betting market's ties to members of Donald Trump's own family for having past experience enforcing regulations related to cryptocurrencies. I mean, the corruption is just right there. What's true, or what's more, the Times found that even being an industry insider isn't enough to guarantee a good standing in the agency. Brian Quintens was tapped by Trump to lead the CFTC last year, saw his nomination withdrawn after he drew the ire of Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss for refusing to support their cryptocurrency exchange's complaint against the agency. Revelations about industry insiders rolling over regulations at the CFTC come as the Trump administration is fighting any attempts by states to regulate prediction markets. As explained in a Thursday report from CNBC, the Trump administration is fighting a multi-front battle to stop state actions and assert its own regulatory authority. So the Trump administration is stopping states from regulating these prediction markets to stop bad actors from obviously doing corrupt actions. And why would they be doing that? Because they want to protect the public. But also the Trump administration doesn't care because this benefits the Trump family. Donald Trump Jr. sits on their advisory board for Kalshi and Polymarket. That's obvious conflict of interest. When you have your dad is the president of the United States. 16 different states are engaged in legal proceedings against the platforms, and Minnesota last week passed a law to ban them outright, which immediately drew a lawsuit from the administration. The new Minnesota law, which is scheduled to take effect in August, bans prediction markets from hosting, creating, or advertising in the state. In an interview with ABC Minnesota Representative Emma Greenman, she authored the legislation because she has grown increasingly concerned about young people in the state seeing their finances drained from placing online bets. Quote, we're seeing studies come out that say the companies are targeting 18 to 21-year-olds, and we are seeing gambling starting younger and younger. This is also really bad for the mental health of young people. It is an epidemic that has seemed to have started. The CFTC chair, Michael Selig, last month warned states trying to regulate prediction markets, which he said would circumvent the clear directive of Congress. Our message to Wisconsin is the same to New York, Arizona, and others. If you interfere with the operation of federal law in regulating financial markets, we will sue you. And prediction markets, basically bringing about gambling activity, has done massive, massive harm to young people. So like prediction, hold on, I'll even show it. Prediction markets affecting young people's mental health, gambling issues. Prediction markets like Polymark and Kalshi are fueling an emerging young mental health and gambling crisis because these platforms brand themselves as financial forecasting rather than gambling. They legally bypass the age and location restrictions by governing traditional sport books. This allows teenagers to easily access them, creating severe yet often hidden behavioral and psychological consequences. And let's talk, this is an article from April 6th, how online gambling is fueling addiction in young adults. A new quickly emerging risk is impacting the mental health of young people, and many parents may be unaware. The illusion of not gambling. Platforms like prediction markets, often framed as financial tools or trading platforms, using language that appeal to younger users. But in practice, they function as similarly the same as gambling, placing money on uncertain outcomes with the hope of a reward. That's gambling. You can use some sort of intelligence in order to do that, and you could say, oh, it's similar to the stock market, though it requires a little bit of a different approach, and it is seen as not gambling, which is also a problem because you are, in a sense, having risk assessments here. Why 18 is even too young. From a legal standpoint, 18 may be even considered the age of adulthood. From a neurological standpoint, it is not. The brain, particularly the areas responsible for impulse control, decision-making, and risk assessment, continues developing well into a person's mid-20s. When you combine that with highly stimulating, fast-paced digital gambling environments, the risk increases significantly. This issue concerns more than just decision-making. It involves the intersection of brain development and high-risk behaviors. I mean, I'm just looking at this and I'm like, yeah, this is a problem. A perfect storm for addiction. Online gambling is uniquely positioned to create addiction. It's always accessible. It offers instant reward and losses. It encourages chasing losses, a hallmark to addictive behavior. It often lacks the natural stopping points of traditional gambling environments. Here's how it works on the brains. Online gambling activities, the brain's dopamine-based reward system, the same system involved in drugs, cocaine, nicotine, alcohol, other reinforcing behaviors, gambling, social media. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's about anticipation of reward and learning. Gambling is especially potent because of its uncertainty and unpredictability, what psychologists call a variable reward schedule, that maybe I'll win. Feeling creates a strong loop. Anticipation, outcome, dopamine spike, repeat. Research and clinical observations show that accessibility of digital platforms is continuing to rise in problem with gambling, particularly among young adults, particularly young men. Individuals facing gambling addiction may experience significant financial distress, often accumulating considerable debt before seeking help. The overlap with substance abuse disorders. Gambling addiction shares many of the same neurological pathways as substance abuse disorders, particularly in how the brain processes reward, risk, and reinforcement. It's not uncommon for individuals struggling with gambling to also experience substance use disorders, depression and anxiety, impulse control challenges. In many cases, one addiction fuels another. A young person who begins with online gambling may turn to substances as a way to cure and cope with stress, losses, or emotional distress. Conversely, someone struggling with substance use may be engaging in risky gambling behaviors as part of a broader pattern of impulsivity. How many times have people seen this? Where you have a gambling problem, but you also have substance abuse issues. I mean, I'm not here like browbeating. I'm just saying that it's a problem. And this is also impacting a lot of people and the hidden impact on families. This is happening without parents even knowing that it's happening to their kids. Because Polymarket and Kalshi like to advertise on between, like, in segments between games that you play on your phone, and YouTube ads targeting kids. I mean, this is a problem. This is a huge problem. And these prediction markets exploiting ambiguity in the law in order to then create your own luck, and particularly with lawmakers using it as a way to personally benefit, it has been a problem. It has been a problem, and it continues. And the Trump administration is doing everything they can to mow down states even trying to take adequate milquetoast regulations in order to then stop this bad behavior. Because the Trump administration knows that it's a gear for corruption, so they're going to go forward and do it. Because that's what Trump does. He uses the office to personally benefit. And when his son sits on the board of Polymarket and Kalshi as strategic advisors, I mean, it makes sense. If this was any other president other than Donald Trump, this would be a scandal that makes headlines no matter what. But since it's just, oh, it's Trump, it's just accepted as it's going to happen. Oh. The corruption is astounding, y'all. The corruption is astounding. Nevertheless, I appreciate every single one of you. I am going to end the live stream here for today. Y'all are awesome. I know it's been a long one today. It has been a long one. That's also because on Mondays, I actually get a day off because it's also Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. I got the day off today. So thank you all for being in here. I know that I'm still kind of adjusting to the way that my live stream is set up. So bear with me through this moment of change. If you appreciated this content, please make sure to subscribe. I work super, super hard to do this. I am an up and coming creator, and it means a lot that y'all are in here. I do experience a lot of imposter syndrome and also a lot of my own inner saboteur. So y'all's support means the world. And when people come in here and are nasty, it's like I'm confused by why they're so nasty. Nevertheless, and any suggestions to improve things, I take it with a grain. I take it on the chin. So if you have any improvements or have any ideas on how to improve the live streams, let me know. I am still new to this specific style, so y'all are incredible. And I appreciate and love every single one of you. Have a wonderful day, Jay Harrison, Akicha, Kentiguin. You're awesome. Is there anything that I need to address before we end the live stream today? I'm planning on posting a lot more content later of these recordings. So that's exciting. I've been using my new laptop, so that's going to make things go a little bit more speedy. So y'all are awesome. I appreciate every single one of you. Make sure to go check that out. And just remember. Oh, and shout out to my amazing moderators for maintaining the space. Keeping everything civil. Y'all are awesome. Just remember that you are beautiful. You are loved. You are valid. You are strong. And you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything or any algorithm ever, 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 ever dim your shine. I love all of you so, so much. Bye! I almost went up here to, like, click away. Okay, hold on. How do I end the live stream? LOL.